Hello students, welcome to my channel CAB. I hope you can now write a simple program in Python or Spider ID. If you can't, the link of the video is given in the description box. In the last lecture, we discussed how to print numbers, alphabets, words, multiple words, single line, multiple line. You can also format them by using escape sequences. If you missed the lecture, the link of the same is given in the description box. Today we will understand the concept of variables. Let's start with a story. Assume that I wanted to bake a cake, so I went to my kitchen and prepared all the ingredients. When it came to sugar, there were two similar looking jars. One had salt and other had powdered sugar in it. But I didn't know which jar had what. So I used 3 tablespoons of whatever was there in one of the jars. I finished baking the cake and it turned out quite delicious. But there was a catch. The cake was salty. So where did it go wrong? It won't have ended up tasting like the sea. Similar to this, we have memory locations that resemble our jars. The label on the jars are like variables, which are just like a name to identify the memory locations. So there are many memory locations like jars in our kitchen that we can use to store some data. For using this jar, we had to label the jars and we had to put the value inside the jar. For example, here I have taken one jar. I label this jar as name A. Now I want to put value inside it, that is number 2. How I can do this in Python? I'm using a variable name A and I want to give some value. So for that I'm using equal to sign and assigning value 2. So this is how the variable a container that label with the name A is created and containing value 2. The method of labeling the container is called as declaration of a variable. So there are certain rules for giving name to the variables. So what are they? A variable can be any alphabet, single alphabet of any case. It can be capital A, small g, capital T, small h, like that. It can be a single word written in any case. For example, roll number written in which the N is written in capital letter, age in which A is written in capital letter, profit all the characters in lowercase, name all the character in uppercase, result in which the first letter is written in capital letter. We can have the variable name consists of multiple words. For example, we want to write age of a student, but here we cannot use space as a special character. For example, here we are having multiple words. In between them, we are having space. But for age of a student, I cannot put space. Instead of that, I can use underscore. So underscore is the special symbol that we can use for writing variable name. We can also use numbers for writing your variable, but the variable can't start with number at the first place. For example, if the baby is newly born, we give him her a name which does not start with a number. Like you have never heard someone be called as 164 Sharia. That is not right. Just like our name don't start with a number, the memory location can't start with the name starting with a number. That means the variable cannot start with a number. If you want to include number in your variable, then we can put in inside the variable name. For example, marks 2, where which the number is present at the end. We can write M1 ARKS within the variable name, but the number cannot be present at the first position of your variable name. So these are the rules for writing the name of the variable. Let's take one example how we can write that in Python. Suppose here I'm creating a variable name. So name will be a container. To this, I am assigning the value Ram. So how it will look like? I have taken one container and label it name. Now I am assigning the value to it. That means I am putting Ram inside this container. So this is how it will look like by using equal to sign. Using the mathematical equation for giving the value to the variable name is called as initialization of a variable. The syntax is very simple. I have to use variable name equal to and the value that I want to assign to that variable. For example, age is equal to 13. That means I have taken one container, label that container as age, and the value that I'm inserting is 13. Here I've taken an example of variable declaration and initialization. Declaration means giving the name. For example, capital A is a label of that container with the value 2. Age of a student is a label of a container containing a value 23. Marks 2 is a label given to a container containing value 45. Result is equal to true is a container containing label result with the value true. Now, names that cannot be used for giving variable name that are called as keywords. So these are the list of keywords that I cannot use for writing the variable name. Before moving ahead, do like and share the video and subscribe my channel. The name of the variable should be such that that is going to reflect the features of a variable. Suppose I'm having a container containing water, so the name of the variable will be water. But suppose I'm putting solid inside it, so the feature is not matching the name of the label. So for that, what we had to do, we had to be very careful while assigning the name to variable. Suppose I'm giving the example of creating the variable marks that will contain the marks of a subject. But here I'm assigning the name as Rahul. That means the value Rahul is not matching the variable name. So that is going to give the wrong meaning. So the marks contain the numbers as the data of a marks. The variables are case sensitive. Suppose I have written the roll number in lower case and I am printing it by using the print statement. So at that time, this is going to give the error message. I have to use the same syntax in which the roll number is written in lower case, but here if you want to print it, I have to again use the same syntax of roll number in which all the letters are in lower case. The variables has to be declared before using it. Suppose I have used the variable roll number, I want to print it, but I am printing the variable age. This age variable is not previously declared, so it's going to give error message. If you want to print the value of age, I have to use this instruction age is equal to, for example, 30 and then print age. One variable is assigned two values. So roll number is equal to 10 is the old value and roll number is equal to 122 is the new value. So whatever is the last value is going to overwritten on your previous value. If we are printing it, print roll number, so it's going to print 122. So let us summarize. The name of the variable should contain alphabet, words, multiple words, number, and underscore. They can start with underscore or alphabet. These are not allowed. Variable name should indicate the type of value to be stored. We should have the perfect, we can say the summary of the variable name. That is what are the features of your container. Based on that, we have to specify the name of that container, that is variable. Your variable can't contain any special symbol like add, hash, space, colon, quotes, like that, except only underscore. Your variable can't start with number and cannot use the keyword. And the variable has to be declared before using it in the program. And they are case sensitive. So let us take one example of each of these. Let us take example of declaring the variables and initializing some value to them. Suppose I want to store a number 2. For storing a number, I can use any variable, for example, a equal to 2. So here whenever I want to print it, so I am printing by putting, for example, capital A, and if you're going to run it. So what it's going to do is going to give error message because name capital A is not defined. That means whatever name we had declared here, small a, that has to be used in rest of your program. So here I have to mention small a. Now you run the program. As soon as you are going to run the program, you can see in your variable explorer, the name of the container is a. How many container we have used? One. What is the data that is present is 2, and what is the category, what kind of data it is. It is an integer data because it's not containing any decimal point. So who decides the category of the data? Python will automatically decide the category of data for you. One more thing that we have to consider, that if you are writing print within quotes a, So what is going to print now? So let us check this. Because of this first line print A, I'm getting the value of the container whose label is A will be displayed as 2, and because of the next line that is present at line number 10, print within the course. So whatever we are writing within the course will not be seen by Python. That is not going to be considered as a variable. It will be the what will be the Python will do, it will just blindly print whatever is present in the double quotes or single quotes. So because of that, I'm getting the value as A here. So suppose I want to print the value of variable A is 2. For that we are having the value of A is within the curly bracket. We have to write the name of the variable whose value we want to print, and we are going to run the program. So I will get the value of A is 2. If you don't know how to use this print with F option, you can go and watch the video whose link is given in the description box. We will discuss some example of how to declare the variable and how to use them. Suppose I want to create variables for the following: name of the student, roll number, marks, percentage, and result, whether that student is pass or fail, and we have to display the message name of the student is so and so with the roll number so and so, so dash marks and with the percentage dash. The result is pass. If it is pass, then true, or if it is fail, then false. First of all, we are going to create variable. For the name of the students, I can use name variable. Now, the variable, the container is created here. So we had taken one container. Now we had labeled the container as name. Before moving ahead, do like and share the video and subscribe my channel. The next step will be to assign some value to this container. We will write name is equal to, for example, Ram. That means now we are filling Ram inside this container whose label is name. Now we have to create a variable for storing the roll number. So I will write roll number. That means I have taken a new container and I label that container as roll number. Roll number equal to 12. That is the way of putting value inside the container. Variable as marks containing some value, for example 40. So here a new container will be taken whose will be marks, and inside that container I am putting the value 40. Now for percentage, I am writing percentage equal to might be 23.4. So the percentage is the name or the tag of the jar, and into that jar I am putting the value 23.4. I'm taking one more variable result containing whether it is pass or fail. So whether the person is pass or fail, for that I'm writing true. So true indicates yes and false indicates zero. Student is fail. Now the time to display the value. For that what I can write, I can use print statement, print name directly the content of the variable. So for the content of the variable, I have to use the variable name. I have to use the tag of the variable. As soon as I run the program in the variable explorer, I can see the variables that I have used in my program. Here I am using marks containing value 40. How many container I have used? Only one. What is the data type? Here in my program, I have not mentioned any data type, but based on the value that is 40, which is not containing any decimal point, Python automatically will identify the type, and the Python is telling us that it is of integer data type. I'm having variable name, container name as name, containing data RAM. What is the size? How many characters are placed in that RAM? RAM. That means 3 characters are placed. And what is the type? It is text message, that is called as string data type in Python. Then I'm having variable percentage containing the value number 23.4 in which the decimal point is present. So whenever we are having decimal point, that data type is identified as float data type. I'm also having a result containing value through how many container, only one, and what is the data type of this type, it is called boolean data type, always may contain either true or false value. Before moving ahead, do like and share the video and subscribe my channel. Here the question that we have to practice by ourselves. We have to create a variable to store number of matches played Assign value 50 to it and display the message. The total number of matches played is so and so by using printf function. Second one is create variable to store the name of the account holder, type of account, whether it is saving or current, amount in the account. That means we should have the number containing the decimal point, assign values to each and every variable using the assignment. Third one is create variable to store the name of the patient, type of disease, type of patient, in and out, fees to be paid. Assign value to every variable using assignment expression. And at the end, we have to determine the type of each variable mentioned in the above question. So how will we find the type of variables? For that, we are having the categories of the data. We had already discussed that we are having number without decimal point, which are now called in Python as integer. The text message that we displayed is called string. The decimal containing number is called as a floating point number, and true and false value is called as boolean. How to reflect the type of a variable? But that was asked in our question. For that, I have to use type function. What is the syntax of using the type function? We have to use variable because it's going to return the type of the variable. So type function, and within the parentheses the variable whose type we want to determine, as is going to return something, it has to be stored in variable. So that is the syntax of using type function. We have already taken one example in which we had to display the information of a student. So here name of the student, roll number, marks, result, and percentage. We have created these many variables and we have displayed the values also. I don't want to run this program, so I will comment them, as we have to comment multiple lines, so we can use three codes for commenting multiple lines. Now I want to display the type of roll number. I'm going to use type function, that is the syntax. And as soon as you are going to write type, the help window will come and you have to press on it. It will give you the default parenthesis of type function. Whose type you want to determine? I want to determine the type of this variable. So I will copy it. Now, if you're going to run this program, you'll not get any output because it's going to return some value. But as this is a value, we are not having any container to hold that value. So what we are going to do, we are going to write a variable which will contain the value which is written by type function. Suppose rt is a variable that is containing the type written by the variable, and if you are going to run again, we are not going to get any output because now the time to print the rt variable. Now if you are going to print it, you will get class in, that means your roll number of type integer. Now if you want to print type directly without using any other variable, if you want to directly print the type, so what I can use default braces of print statement, then within that I will write type function. Then I'm going to write the braces of your type function and the name of the variable whose value you want to directly print with using the third container. So if we are going to run it, so we'll get the type of the name of student, print the type of percentage is. Now directly I will use the by putting comma, now type of which variable, percentage variable. So whenever you want to use any operation, so here the operation is performed, so the text message in the print statement will be added by using comma inside. If you want to check the type of boolean variable result, so what I can do now, same message I will copy. The type of result is type of the variable name result. Run and we get the output as boolean. These are the example of how the roll number is created by using input function. Now what is input function? It will take the value from the user. So whatever value we are going to enter, that will be considered always as a string variable. So whatever value are taken by using input function, that will be stored in roll number. So let us take that example. Suppose you are having variable age. The age is equal to 13. So this is the fixed value, and for the user want to change the value. So wherever we don't want to fix any value, we will ask the user to input your data. So for that, what I can do, I can use, for example, each from user variable I have created that will take the value from the user. How it will take the value? By using the input function. So the input function, whenever going to write it, we will get the help window and you are going to press on it. After running the program, what you will see? After running the program, you will not see anything. But here, what we have to do that because it is input function, we have to enter the value for age. Now, age from user, that variable is not created because it is waiting in the IPython console here for you to enter the value. Suppose I have entered value 3 and press enter key. As soon as you are going to press enter key, we can see the age from user variable is created. It is containing the value 3. But what is the data type? The data type of that variable is string. That means whatever value we are taking from the user by using input function is always string type. So how we can change that to integer data type? Because I want the type of the each from user has to be in integer. So for that I have to use typecasting. Now, what is the way of typecasting is I have to write the data type in which I want to convert the variable. For example, here roll number is equal to input and we are going to print the data type. The class is string. Now I don't want that to the roll number has to be of string data type. I want that into integer. So what I'm going to write? I'm going to write int before roll number. So this method is called as typecasting method, which is nothing but converting one data type into another. What is the syntax is the data type in which we want to convert within the parenthesis what value you want to convert. So in our case, I want to convert age from user to input data type. So for that, we are using, for example, variable a is equal to convert that age from variable into integer data type. Now, if you're going to print the type of variable a, so type of a is what is the function of returning the type of a variable type function. So type of variable a. So what is going to display here? Age is 13 that is created age from the user. Because of this input function, the cursor is waiting here for us to type the value. So for example, now the value of age from user is 45. You press enter key here. Now that value 45 is of in string data type. Now that value is from user, which is 45, is converted into integer and that is stored in the variable a. So now if we are printing the value, the type of variable a it is showing is integer because the variable a which is converted into integer containing the value from age from the user. Now suppose I am using profit. That value I want user to enter. So I will use input and I don't want to use this line now. So I will comment them by using multiple quotes, three multiple quotes. Now profit is equal to input. As and when you are going to run your program, you will not see anything here. Plus you will not see your variable profit in your variable explorer. That means your cursor is waiting here because of the input function. So you enter some value, for example, floating point number. So this floating point number will not be considered as a floating point number, it is considered as a string. So now what I want this to be converted into floating point number. So float the to which the data I want to convert. Which variable you want to convert into floating point number. So that is the name of the variable. Now you run your program again because of the input function. Profit is equal to input. It is waiting for you. Suppose I'm entering number as 23.78. So profit is containing 23.78. P is also containing 23.78, but the difference is present in the data type. Profit is the string data type and the P is a float data type. Another way, which is called as a shortcut, for example, loss. I want the value to be inputted from the user, so I can use input function. But what I want that the text should be displayed. Enter your loss. So what it's going to do is going to display me the message. Now I don't want to run profit and by using input function, so I can comment that. Now this is user friendly. Now I can understand the time to enter the loss. So I will enter any loss, so it will be stored in your loss variable, but it is of string data type. Now the time to convert it into integer is that simply put int before input function in one line only. Now suppose I want to convert the loss from string data type to floating point number, so I can do that. After entering the value will be converted into float and that is written in L. So here roll number is converted into integer data type by using int typecasting. Here age is taken from the user by using input function that is converted into integer, and if you are going to display the data type by using the type function, the data type will be integer. So these are the practice questions that you have to practice by yourself. You have to write a program to create three variables A, B, C, accept three number from the user by using input function and store them in A, B, and C. Also find the type of each variable. Let's try this question. We are going to take three variables A, B, C, and we are going to input by using input function. So for that, first of all, I'm going to declare the type. I don't want string data type, so I've converted that into integer. Then I will write enter value of A. So you're going to run, will get enter value of A. So I can enter the value of A as 3. So here variable A of integer data type is converted. The same apply for B, C also. So I'm going to convert them into integer data type. We'll run it. So value of A to be entered, that is 3, 4 and 5. Now what is the next question? And we have to display the type of each. So how to display type of each is that by using type function. So print the type of A is. So then comma type of A. It will print the type. Then after printing the type, what we have to do? We have to find the average of numbers mentioned in question number 1. Let us take one more variable average and we will write down A plus B plus C and divide by 3. So if you are going to do this, suppose this is 1, A is 1, B is 2 and C is 3. The answer should be 6. But here we are not printing it because we are not used print statement. So let us take print average is. It is showing only 4. That is wrong. That means it is not taking properly the addition of all three and then the division. So for that what we are going to do, we are going to put them in braces and then find the average. So 1, 2, 3. Now the answer is 2. The next question is write a program to find the area of a triangle. So let us take for finding the area of a triangle. Formula is half into base into height. So we'll take the input from the user. Enter the value of base is 2. Enter the value of height is 3. Okay. Then what we have to do? We have to find the value. So for that, for example, I'm using the variable name as area and that I'm multiplying by 0.5. That is half. So 0.5 into base into h will be the value of the area. Now I'm going to display it using the print function. So now it's going to display the value of the area. So suppose the value of base is 2 and the value of height is 3. So value of variable will be 3.0. Now next question. Next question is very simple. We have to write a program to find the square of a number. Display your message. Square of a number is dash. So that is very easy.